My younger sister showed up at my mother's mansion one June afternoon with 2 suitcases and a smile that said she believed she had finally beaten me. Sienna had just turned 18. She wore an old high school hoodie, ripped jeans, and sneakers worn down at the heels. Only 6 months earlier, she had still been posting brunch photos from Newport Beach, sitting in our father's Mercedes, and making fun of the first rental apartment our mother had lived in as a box. Now she stood in front of a nearly $4 million house in the Hollywood Hills, looked past me toward the infinity pool and said, "Dad is bankrupt. I'm moving in here." I did not open the door any wider. "Sienna, go back to Dad." Her smile vanished. "Are you kidding?" "No. Mom already said yes." "You talked to her?" "Obviously." She lifted her phone and gave it a little shake. "She said the guest room is still free." I looked at the 2 suitcases, then at my sister. 4 years earlier, when our parents divorced, Sienna had wrapped both hands around our father's arm and told the mediator she wanted to live primarily with him. My father, Grant Whitmore, still drove a Porsche then, lived in a house overlooking the coast, and held memberships at 2 golf clubs. My mother, Vanessa Hale, left the marriage with a settlement large enough to live on, but nowhere near the kind of wealth Sienna liked to show off. She rented a 2-bedroom apartment in West Hollywood and began again with almost nothing resembling her old lifestyle. I chose to live with Mom, not because I loved her more. I was 15, and she had just walked out of a 16-year marriage looking like someone who might break if she were left alone. "Sienna chose Dad." She said it plainly. "I don't want to change schools, cars, and everything else just because 2 adults stopped loving each other." Nobody blamed her. I didn't either. In California, a minor's preference does not automatically decide custody, but my parents reached an agreement in mediation. We still spent time with both parents and followed a holiday schedule, but my primary residence was with Mom, while Sienna lived with Dad. After the divorce, our 2 lives split. Then they reversed. My father lost almost everything after a string of foolish investments, over-leveraged loans, and months of gambling he always described as just entertainment. My mother became a major online personality. At first, she simply live-streamed about secondhand fashion, skincare, and what it looked like for a woman in her 40s to rebuild her life after divorce. Then she opened a small agency. The agency grew. Brand contracts, events, influencer management, private hospitality. By the time I was 19, Mom had bought this house. Lifestyle magazines called her story one of reinvention. Sienna watched all of it through Instagram. She saw Mom in designer dresses, saw me beside the pool at parties, saw trips to Las Vegas, Palm Springs, Miami, handbags, cars, hotels. She did not see the rest. That was why, when Dad's life truly collapsed, she called me first. "Tell Mom to let me move in." I said no. She thought I was selfish. I knew she would. I had prepared for it. I took an envelope from a drawer beside the door. Inside was a $10,000 check from my own savings. I held it out. "Take this. Rent a room with a friend, or stay with Aunt Rebecca for a few months. I'll help you enroll in community college if you want to transfer. But don't live here." Sienna stared at the check, then looked up. "You're paying me to stay away from Mom?" "I'm trying to give you another option. You think I'm stupid enough not to understand?" In Sienna, "For 4 years you've lived with Mom. 4 years of parties, trips, designer clothes. Now Dad has no money and you tell me to go rent a room?" "You don't understand." "Exactly. I don't understand why you get everything and I don't. I lowered my voice. Some of what you see is not what you think. She laughed. More mysterious nonsense. Sienna, listen to me once. You're afraid that if I come here, Mom will like me more. I froze. She stepped closer. You're afraid I'll steal your life. I looked at my sister for a long time. If she had known how badly I had wished someone could steal this life from me, she might not have said that. I pushed the check toward her again. Take it. Sienna tore it in half, then tore it again. The pieces fell onto the front walk. I don't need your pity money. At that exact moment, the door behind me opened. Mom stepped outside. Vanessa Hale was 47 that year, but in properly lit photographs, she looked at least 10 years younger. In person, she was still beautiful. Honey blonde hair, cream silk blouse, that familiar white floral perfume. She looked at Sienna, then at the pieces of the check on the ground. What is going on? Sienna's voice changed immediately. Mom! She rushed forward and hugged her. Can I stay here? Dad has nothing left. Mom stroked her hair. Of course. I said, Mom, we need to talk. She glanced at me. Later. Mom, don't embarrass your sister at the door. Sienna looked over Mom's shoulder at me. The victory in her eyes was almost childish. She did not know that 4 years earlier, when I walked into a cramped apartment with our mother, I had believed I was choosing the weaker person so I could protect her. I had no idea I was the one who would eventually need protection. That night, Sienna took the guest room upstairs. Mom opened champagne, ordered Japanese food. The two of them talked until almost 1 in the morning. I sat in my bedroom with the door locked. My phone held 3 unsent messages, 1 to Aunt Rebecca, 1 to a lawyer, 1 to my grandfather. I stared at the screen for a long time, then deleted all 3. I still was not ready. Not just to save myself, to accept that if Sienna insisted on walking into this house, I might not be able to save her. 4 years earlier, when my parents began divorce proceedings, I had no idea my mother could become the person she was now. Back then, Vanessa was a woman with almost no substantial work history for 16 years. She had studied marketing, worked 3 years for a retailer, then stopped when she became pregnant with me. During the marriage, she handled everything from household staff to charity schedules, business dinners for Dad, and the family's social image. After the divorce, she said, "At least I still know how to make people look at what I want them to see." At 15, I thought it was a joke. Our first apartment was barely over 1,000 square feet. I slept in the smaller bedroom. Mom took the primary. For the first 3 months, she barely slept. Not because she was grieving, because she was learning. Live streaming, editing, affiliate links, sponsorships, algorithms. I sat beside her in front of a ring light we ordered from Amazon, holding the phone and reading comments while she tried on secondhand coats and talked about rebuilding a wardrobe after divorce. She was smart, truly smart. She knew how to make viewers feel like friends. How to turn her own life story into a product people wanted to follow. Within a year, her account passed 1 million followers. A skincare founder hired her for a campaign. Then an agency offered management. Mom refused. If they can take 20% from me, I can build a company that keeps that 20%. Vela House began in a 2-room office near Sunset Boulevard. At first, it managed 6 female creators. I helped with booking spreadsheets, wrote emails, checked calendars. There were moments when I thought this might become my future. Mom said, "You have an eye for this. One day this company will belong to both of us." I believed her. In year 2, we moved into a better apartment. Then Mom rented a house for events. Then bought a car. Then the dinners started. At first they looked normal. Brand founders, investors, hotel executives, men and women in entertainment. But gradually, some dinners included only very young female creators. Some of the men had nothing to do with any brand. Some contracts listed vague hosting appearances. Some girls cried in the bathroom the next morning. A creator named Maya Brooks once grabbed my hand after an event in Beverly Hills. She was 20. "Natalie," Maya said, "I don't want to go to his private suite." Vanessa said, "If I damage this relationship, I owe the agency the advance." I confronted Mom. She became angry. "Do not interfere with other people's contracts." Maya says she doesn't want to go. No one is forcing her. Then why is she crying? Mom looked at me. "You think brand deals, trips, apartments, and transportation appear by magic? Adults understand exchange of value." A chill ran through me. "What kind of value?" She did not answer. A few months later, it was my turn. Victor Langford, 49, chairman of a hospitality group investing in resorts and nightlife. He had appeared at 2 Vela House dinners. The third time, Mom told me to come to a private launch at the Beverly Hills Hotel. I told her I was not a creator. She answered, "You're my daughter. Is it really that hard to show up looking pretty?" Victor sat beside me for most of the night, asked about college, asked about boyfriends, touched my hand too long. Near the end of the event, Mom said, "Victor has a suite upstairs. He wants to review a concept for a new campaign. Go with him." I looked at her. "I'm not going." Her smile did not change. Her eyes did. "Natalie." "No." Victor laughed. "The girl can make her own decision." I stood. "Exactly. I'm leaving." I ordered a rideshare. Mom followed me into the hallway. She grabbed my arm hard enough to leave marks the next day. "What are you doing?" "Going home. Do you know how much business he could bring Vela House?" "That has nothing to do with me. I raised you. Dad raised me too. Grandpa sent money for school. None of them used that to tell me to go upstairs with a man almost 50 years old." Mom slapped me. Not hard enough to knock me down. Hard enough for me to understand. She did not think she was crossing a line. In her mind, I was the one betraying her. That night, I slept at a friend's house. I did not return for 3 days. Mom apologized, bought me a handbag, said stress had made her lose control. I accepted the apology, not the bag, and I began quietly preparing to leave. That was the part Sienna did not know. She only saw my Instagram. Hotels, parties, dresses. She did not see the handprints on my arm, did not hear Maya crying, did not know I had started saving screenshots, contracts, and emails to an encrypted drive, because one day I might need to prove I had not imagined any of it. So when Sienna stood at the door and said she wanted to steal my life, I was not angry. I was afraid, because she was fighting for a room I had spent an entire year trying to escape. Sienna settled into the house faster than I expected. During the first week, Mom took her shopping. The second week, she got a new haircut, dental work, and a meeting with a stylist. By the third week, photographs of her began appearing on Vela House's Instagram. Nothing major. Just lifestyle content. Sienna by the pool. Sienna trying a new cosmetics line. Sienna sitting in the front row at a launch party. She did not have a significant following yet, but Mom knew how to turn proximity into status. Stand beside the right person, use the right background, tag the right brand, and an 18-year-old girl could look as though she had belonged to that world all her life. Sienna loved it. She dropped the idea of returning to college. I said, "At least finish an associate degree." She rolled her eyes. "You studied so much. What did it get you?" "The ability to make my own choices. I'm making my own choices too." "Mom is making a lot of them for you. Are you jealous?" Sienna. "Seriously, Mom says I have a better face for camera than you." I looked at her. "Maybe you do." She smiled like she had won. I did not compete. Mom began bringing Sienna into the office. At first, she was an unofficial intern. Then Mom let her sit in on creator meetings. I noticed more and more familiar codes on the calendar hanging in the kitchen. Private dinners, sponsor dinners, after-hours hosting. Mom stopped discussing work around me as much. Maybe she knew I no longer agreed with what she was doing. One night, I heard Sienna on the phone in the hallway. "I don't need school anymore. Mom says networking matters more." I walked past. She ended the call. "Were you listening?" "No." "Then stop looking at me like that." I stopped. "There's one thing I want you to remember. Here we go. If anyone uses money, gifts, contracts, or opportunity to push you into something you don't want, you are allowed to leave." Sienna laughed. "You think I'm a child?" "No." "Then stop lecturing me." I looked at her. "I'm serious. You lived here for 4 years. If it's as terrible as you say, why haven't you left?" That hit exactly where it was meant to. I did not answer. Sienna smirked. "Exactly." She went downstairs. I stayed in the hall. She did not know I was leaving. I just did not know where to go yet. I could not move in with Dad. By then, Grant had lost the Newport Beach house after refinancing twice. He rented a small condo in Costa Mesa. The Porsche had been repossessed. He still told everyone it was only a temporary liquidity problem. But I knew it went deeper. My cousin Noah had texted me once. "Uncle Grant tried to borrow against a distribution he doesn't control. Grandpa is furious." My grandfather, Edmund Whitmore, founded Whitmore Logistics and Development. It was not a glamorous tech empire. It was an old family business built around warehouses, industrial parks, trucking terminals, cold storage facilities, and some commercial land in Southern California and Arizona. My father was Edmund's only son. Everyone had once assumed he would take over. Grandpa had assumed the same. Then Dad spent 20 years proving he had no interest in living a life someone else designed for him. He invested in restaurants, nightclubs, a tequila brand, a luxury car club. After the divorce, he started using his own money for increasingly risky deals. When Grandpa refused to provide more capital, Dad borrowed elsewhere. Then came sports betting, casinos. Dad was not completely broke yet when Sienna left him for Mom, but the rest was burning. I could call Grandpa. I had not spoken to him privately in almost 4 years. Vanessa and Edmund had never liked each other. During the divorce, Mom's lawyers had tried to use the Whitmore family lifestyle to justify a larger settlement. Grandpa believed Mom cared only about money. Mom believed Grandpa controlled everyone through it. Sienna and I got trapped in between. When I chose Mom as my primary residence, Edmund almost stopped contacting me. Not because he hated me. He simply stepped back. I used to think it was cold. Later, I understood he did not want to use money to pull his granddaughter away from her mother. I did not know whether he would still want to see me. One evening, I called Noah. Noah Bennett was the son of my father's older sister, Claire Whitmore Bennett. He was 4 years older than me. From childhood, Noah was often the one Grandpa brought to the office. Dad used to say bitterly, "My father is training his grandson in case his own son turns out not to be good enough." Noah never answered. He just studied. After graduating from USC, he joined Whitmore Logistics as an analyst. No special title. Now he was 23 and worked in acquisitions. He answered, "Natalie? Are you near Grandpa? What happened? I want to see him." He was silent for a few seconds. "Is Uncle Grant in trouble?" "Not Dad." "Vanessa?" I did not answer. Noah understood. "Are you safe?" The question tightened my throat. "Yes. Tomorrow at 4, I'll tell Grandpa. Don't tell him much. He'll ask. Just say I want to see him." Okay. The next day, I drove down to Newport Beach. Grandpa no longer lived in the old mansion lifestyle magazines had once photographed. After Grandma died, he moved into a lower, smaller house that still overlooked Back Bay. Noah opened the door. He looked at me, did not hug me. The Whitmores were not good at hugging. He only said, "You've lost weight." I laughed. "Is that a family tradition?" "Grandma used to say it." That quieted me. My grandmother, Margaret Whitmore, died of cancer when I was 12. She was the only person on Dad's side whom Mom had genuinely respected. Noah led me into the study. Grandpa sat behind his desk. 73 years old. White hair. Reading glasses. He did not stand. He only looked at me. "Natalie. Grandpa. 4 years." "I know. Now you remember I exist?" I sat. Noah started to leave. Grandpa said, "Stay." Noah took the side chair. Grandpa looked at me. "How much?" I blinked. "I'm not here for money. Your father always starts that way too. I'm not Dad." He studied me longer. "Good. Then what do you need?" I had prepared an answer. But once I was really sitting in front of him, I abandoned it. "I need somewhere to live for a few months." Grandpa raised an eyebrow. "Vanessa threw you out?" "Not yet." "Grant?" "Not relevant." "Then why?" I looked at Noah. He did not interfere. I said, "Mom is running Vela House in a way I don't want to participate in. My sister just moved in with her. I tried to stop it. She wouldn't listen. I want to leave before things get worse." Grandpa's face did not change. "What way?" I did not want to tell him about Victor in detail, not because I was ashamed, because saying it aloud meant turning something I had tried to call an incident into a pattern. I said, "Some of the dinners are not business in the way they look on paper. Young creators get pressured to stay with clients. Advances, contracts, and housing are used to keep them from leaving. I have seen it." Grandpa looked at me. "Do you have evidence?" I took an encrypted USB drive from my bag. Emails, calendars, screenshots, copies of contracts I had authorized access to when I did admin work. Not enough to prove a crime. Enough for me to know I don't want to live there. He did not take the drive. "Have you gone to the police?" "Not yet." "Why not?" "Because I don't know the full scope. Because some of the girls don't want to speak. And because she's my mother." Grandpa leaned back. "There's the honest answer." I lowered my eyes. "I'm not asking you to fix it." "Then why did you come?" "I need to get out. I want to continue school. I can rent a room." "Where are you enrolled?" "UCLA, Economics. I took 1 semester off while Vela House expanded, but I want to go back." Grandpa frowned. "You left school to work for your mother?" "Not officially, but yes." "Grades?" "Good." "How good?" 3.84. He looked at Noah. Noah said, I checked her transcript before she came. I stared at him. You checked? Grandpa was going to ask. Grandpa asked. Tuition? I have an old 529 and a small scholarship. I don't need you to pay. Rent? I have savings. Then what do you need from me? I told him the truth. A place where Mom cannot walk in and tell me I owe her my entire life. The study went silent. Grandpa looked at me for a long time. Then he stood. Your old room in the guest wing is still there. I had not expected that. Grandpa, don't get sentimental yet. He went to the window. I don't trust you completely. I swallowed. I understand. Vanessa is very good at telling a story in the way that benefits her. Your father is very good at destroying things and saying somebody forced him to do it. Their daughters grew up between those two people. He turned. I don't know who you take after. I said. I'm trying to find out, too. One corner of his mouth moved. Not quite a smile. Move tomorrow. I exhaled. Noah asked, What about Ukla? Grandpa looked at me. Go back next semester. That's my plan. No, I'm asking whether you actually will, or whether you'll change course again because someone else wants you to. I understood. I'm going back. Good. I stood. Grandpa added, And Natalie. Yes? If what's on that drive is as serious as you say, the fact that she is your mother does not make it less serious. My hand tightened. I know. No, you're only beginning to. I left the study with Noah. In the hallway, he asked, Victor Langford? I stopped. How do you know? Noah is not an idiot. You've met him? Business circles, hospitality, private equity. His reputation isn't clean. I looked at him. Anything specific? Rumors, settlements. Nothing sufficiently public. My mother once tried to pressure me into going to a private suite with him. Noah stopped. His face changed. Did he touch you? Yes. I got out. Vanessa knew. She told me I was ruining a deal. Noah closed his eyes for a second. Did you save anything? Texts afterward. Nothing from the room. Okay. Don't tell Grandpa more. Natalie. I'm not ready. He looked at me. I won't go behind your back, but don't let not yet become never. I nodded. The next day, I moved out of Mom's house. One large suitcase, 2 boxes of books, and my laptop. Mom was at the office. Sienna sat beside the pool. She looked at the boxes. You're really leaving? Yes. Where? With Grandpa for a while. She laughed. Does he even want to look at you? I don't know. He cut Dad off. You think you're better than Dad? I don't think anything. Sienna stood. You're leaving Mom because I came here, aren't you? No. Liar. I looked at her. Sienna, I tried to keep you out of this house. You insisted on coming. Now I'm leaving. Isn't that what you wanted? She stiffened. Maybe for the first time, she realized her victory had not made me fight to take it back. I handed her a card. The name of a lawyer who helped young people in entertainment contracts. Keep it. She refused. I placed it on the table. If there comes a time when you want out and don't know how, call that number. Sienna flicked the card into the pool. You are seriously sick. I watched the card float for a second and then sink. Maybe. I pulled my suitcase away. Behind me, Sienna called, I'm going to live better than you. I did not turn around. I only thought, I hope you do. Living at Grandpa's house was completely different from living with Mom. No cameras, no stylists, no dinners that stretched until 2 in the morning. Grandpa ate breakfast at 6:45, left the house at 7:15. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, he came home before 7. He did not work Sundays unless something truly required it. During my first week, he barely asked about my private life. There was only one rule. If you live here, you eat dinner here at least 3 nights a week. I have class. I didn't say which nights. I can do Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday. Fine. That became the routine. Noah usually came on Wednesdays. He brought his laptop. Grandpa talked business. I ate. Listened. Nobody tried to teach me. One evening, they were arguing about whether Whitmore should buy an old cold storage facility near Ontario Airport. Noah said the price made sense because replacement cost had gone up. Grandpa asked, "What's the risk?" Noah listed, "The roof, the refrigeration system, tenant rollover." Without thinking, I said, "And water." Both of them looked at me. I set down my fork. "Sorry," Grandpa asked. "What about water?" I read the county record. Some parcels in that area are being reviewed for industrial water allocation. Cold storage doesn't use water the way food processing does, but if a future tenant wants to convert part of the property to processing, expansion could be restricted. Noah looked at me. "When did you read county records?" "I had an assignment on logistics corridors in land economics," Grandpa asked. "Source?" I took out my phone, found the memo, handed it over. He read it, did not praise me, only said, "Noah, add it to due diligence." Noah nodded. After dinner, I went upstairs. 10 minutes later, I got a text. "Noah, Grandpa likes you," I replied. "He just told me to wash my glass." Noah, "Exactly." I laughed. The new semester began in August. I returned to UCLA. I did not start over. I still had enough credits. My advisor helped me build a schedule that would delay graduation by about 1 semester. I added statistics and corporate finance, not because I wanted to prove anything to Grandpa. Because after 2 years inside Vela House, I understood how dangerous confidence could be without knowledge. Mom was brilliant at reading a room, but she hated things that could not be manipulated with emotion. Contracts, cash flow, compliance, audit trails. I wanted to understand those things. Sienna went in the opposite direction. Her Instagram grew quickly. Mom used Vela House's network to get her into events. A beauty brand paid her for her first campaign. She bought a small Chanel bag. Sent me a photo. Caption, "Still think I need community college?" I did not reply. A month later, Mom is taking me to New York Fashion Week. 2 months later, I have my own manager now. 3 months later, "You're still reading books?" I muted her. Did not block her. I needed to know she was still alive. Dad kept falling. One night, he called. "Natalie, talk to Grandpa." "About what?" "It's just a bridge loan." "How much?" "Not much." "How much?" $3 million. I closed my eyes. "What collateral?" "You don't need to understand." "Then I can't ask for it." "You stay at his house for a few months and suddenly think you're an expert?" "No." "He listens to you." "You're asking me to use that?" "I'm your father." I went quiet. His voice changed. "The last deals had bad timing. This one is different." "Did you send Grandpa the materials?" "He won't look." "Then neither will I." "Natalie." "I can't ask him to put $3 million into something I haven't read." Dad cursed, then hung up. 2 days later, Noah said, "Uncle Grant borrowed from a private lender." "Collateral?" The condo and next year's distribution if the trust allows it. Problem is, the trust doesn't allow assignment. And the lender still funded? Based on his representations. A chill ran through me. Fraud? Legal is reviewing it. Grandpa heard all of that but said nothing to me. Until one evening, Dad showed up at the house. No warning. He went straight into the study. I heard shouting, "You're my father!" And you have used that sentence for 20 years. What is 3 million to you? It's not the amount. It's that you still don't understand why I won't give it to you. You'd rather give everything to Noah than to your own son. I pay Noah a salary because he works. And Natalie? She crawls back here for a few months and suddenly gets to sit at your table? I stood in the hallway. Noah was there too. He moved toward the study. I shook my head. Inside, Dad said, "She's just like her mother. Have you forgotten Vanessa already?" A chair scraped. Grandpa's voice went very low. "Do not use that girl to hide from what you did." I'm telling the truth. The truth is that you signed representations to a private lender that were not accurate. Silence. Grandpa continued. Legal has reviewed it. If they sue you, Whitmore will not guarantee your debt. You want me bankrupt? I want you to live with the consequences. I have 2 daughters. Do not drag them into this. Then why are you keeping Natalie here? I clenched my fists. Noah entered before I did. Uncle Grant, enough. Dad turned. Saw me. For a second, his face changed. Natalie? You don't have to explain. Grandpa stood behind the desk, his face cold. Dad looked at me. You told Grandpa about my deal? No, don't lie. I didn't. Noah said. Legal found out through the lender notice. Dad breathed hard. He looked at me as though blaming me were still easier than accepting reality. You're choosing sides, I said. You called and asked me to get you $3 million. I refused. If that is choosing sides, then yes. He pointed at me. You think he's going to hand you something? You think a few classes and a few clever comments get you into the company? I haven't asked. You will, Grandpa said. Leave. Dad turned. Dad, leave. You're cutting me off? I'm stopping the rescue. 2 different sentences. Dad heard only one. He left. The door slammed. I stood still. Grandpa looked at me. Do you want to go after him? The question hurt. Not because I wanted to, because it touched the oldest fear I had. When adults fight, the child must choose. I had chosen too many times. No, I said. Grandpa asked. If he loses the condo, I'll help him find an apartment if he needs one. I won't pay gambling debt. If he says you're ungrateful, he can say it. If he tells you to leave here, this is your house. I'm asking you. I took a breath. I'm not leaving. Grandpa nodded. Good. I turned. He called, Natalie, yes? Your father is part of the life you were born into. I looked at him, but he is not your entire future. I could not answer. He pointed to a chair. Sit. I sat. Grandpa said, What time is your class tomorrow? 9. Then eat breakfast first. That was how Edmund Whitmore comforted people. No hug. No promise that he would protect me forever. Just a reminder that breakfast still existed the next morning. Strangely, it was enough. A few weeks later, I entered a real estate case competition through school. Teams had to analyze an industrial brownfield and propose a redevelopment strategy. Not a real deal. No real money. But the judges came from the industry. No one knew. Grandpa never asked. On the day of the final round, I was preparing when Dad texted, "Need money, call me." I turned off my phone. Our team presented. We did not win first place. We came second. One judge asked why I had not maximized buildable area. I said, "Because the highest density isn't always the highest value if remediation and truck circulation destroy the yield." After the presentation, I walked into the lobby. Grandpa was standing there, coffee in hand. I froze. "You came?" "I was in Westwood. You hate traffic." "I still do." "You knew what time I presented?" "Noah told me." Noah stood 10 yards away pretending to read his phone. I looked at Grandpa. "We didn't win." I noticed. "You came without telling me?" "If I told you, you would be nervous." I was still nervous, but not because of me. He handed me the coffee. "Why didn't you choose the higher density plan?" I laughed. "You heard the answer already." "I wanted to see if you changed it for me." "I didn't." "Good." We walked outside. He asked, "Do you need clothes for an internship?" "I don't have an internship." "You will." "Are you offering one?" "No." I looked at him. He said, "I'm telling you your wardrobe is terrible. You really know how to ruin a moment." One corner of his mouth moved. That weekend, he took me to South Coast Plaza. No stylist, no private shopping room, just the two of us walking through stores. He picked out a blazer. I said, "It's expensive." "I'm paying." "You don't suspect I came back to extract money anymore?" He looked at me. "I almost wish you would." "What?" "If you ask me for a jacket, at least I know you're asking for something someone your age should ask for. Don't ask me to rescue your father." I hugged the blazer. Deal. That was when I began to understand the difference between being spoiled and being protected. Mom used to buy me expensive things after crossing a line. Grandpa bought me a blazer because I needed it for a life I was building myself. Both involved money. The meaning was completely different. While I was learning how to stand without leaning on anyone, Sienna was becoming exactly the image Mom wanted. She lost almost 10 pounds even though she had already been thin, got subtle lip filler, changed her hair color, learned how to pose. Mom hired her a media coach. One person taught her how to speak on podcasts. Another helped rebuild her wardrobe. Everything was called an investment. Sienna loved it. She had followers, brand gifts, invitations, a BMW leased under the company. One day, she sent me a video of the new room Mom had renovated for her. A closet full of clothes, a vanity surrounded by lights. Caption, "Still think I should go to community college?" I did not answer. I only saved the date, not to compete, because behind the cheerful posts, Vella House's calendar was filling with more private events. Maya Brooks was no longer at the agency. I messaged her. No response. 2 other creators I had known disappeared from social media for several months and later came back with new accounts. I began speaking with an attorney named Olivia Chen, who worked in employment and entertainment law for young talent. She was the lawyer whose card Sienna had thrown into the pool. I did not want to send Olivia the entire USB drive immediately. We met at her Century City office. She listened, did not judge. Then she said, "There are 2 separate issues. One is contract exploitation. The other is whether there has been coercion, assault, or trafficking. Those are criminal matters." I don't know enough. Then we do not make criminal conclusions on behalf of investigators. Can we help people who left the agency without pressuring them? Yes. Olivia explained how to connect someone with a survivor advocate. If Maya wanted to speak, she could have independent counsel. If she did not, nobody would force her. I agreed. 1 week later, Maya replied. One line, "I'm ready to talk." I sat in my car for almost 10 minutes after reading it. Maya met Olivia first. Not me. That was better. 2 weeks later, Maya called. Her voice shook. "I thought you knew." "Knew what?" "Vanessa told me you had gone with Victor too." I went cold. "No. She said you understood how the company worked." I left the event. Maya was quiet. "I'm sorry. You have nothing to apologize for. There are other girls. You do not have to tell me anything if you're not ready." I told the lawyer. I closed my eyes. "Okay," Maya said. "Natalie?" "Yes?" "Do not go confront Vanessa yourself." "I won't." "Promise?" "Promise." I kept it. No confrontation, no threats. I did not tell Mom I was doing anything. I only preserved the files. Later, Olivia told me Maya and at least 2 other women had agreed to speak with a detective from the Los Angeles Police Department unit that handled human trafficking and sexual exploitation. I was interviewed too. I provided emails, texts, calendar exports I had been authorized to access while providing administrative support. One of Maya's contracts that she herself had sent me earlier. The texts Mom sent after the Victor incident. "You embarrassed me tonight. We don't walk away from people who can change our future. You need to learn how adult relationships work." My reply. I said no. Olivia told me to keep the original device. Do not alter anything. Do not obtain more screenshots from accounts I was no longer authorized to access. Do not pretend to be someone else to gather evidence. A real investigation was nothing like a revenge story. Slow, boring, careful. There were months when nothing seemed to happen. I kept going to school, kept eating dinner with Grandpa, kept hearing Dad call for money and curse me when I refused, kept watching Sienna post as if she had won. Near Christmas, she texted, "I have a boyfriend." I did not ask who. She sent a photo. I recognized Victor Langford immediately. The picture had been taken at a restaurant in Malibu. Sienna had one arm through his. Victor had a thin scar behind his right ear. I had stared at it in the elevator at the Beverly Hills Hotel when he stood too close. My hands went cold. I called Sienna. For the first time in months, she answered immediately. "Wow, you called me first? Is the man in that photo Victor Langford? You know Victor? Sienna, are you dating him?" "Yes." "How old is he?" "I'm 19 now. Don't act like Mom." "Is he divorced?" "Separated." "Do you know that for sure?" "What is wrong with you?" "I met him through Mom." "So? I want you to be careful." Sienna laughed. "You really are jealous." "Sienna, Victor has a penthouse, a jet share, a house in Malibu. Mom says he can help me launch my own brand. He made me uncomfortable before. What does that mean?" I paused. He touched me when I did not want him to. Mom still tried to make me go upstairs to his suite. I left. The line went quiet. I hoped. Then Sienna said, "You always tell stories like you're the victim." My heart sank. "You don't have to believe me. Just don't stay alone with him if you don't want to." "I do want to." "Sienna, you threw away your opportunity, and now you hate that I have one." "No. I know what your life was actually like. Mom told me everything." I went cold. "What did Mom tell you?" "That you judged everyone. That you took her money, went to events, then acted like you were being exploited. Mom says you never understood business." I closed my eyes. Mom had rewritten the past, and Sienna liked that version because it transformed my warnings into jealousy. She said, "I'm not you. I know how to use an opportunity." I answered, "Fine, but if there comes a time when you want out, call me. You won't need to explain. Don't wait for it." She hung up. I sent Olivia the photograph, not because dating an older man was a crime, because Victor had already appeared in multiple statements. Olivia passed the information through the proper channel. I did not know how far the investigation had gone. I did not ask for information they could not give me. Early the next year, Grandpa was being honored at a fundraising gala for a logistics scholarship program. He hated galas. Noah said, "If Grandpa has to go, we all have to go." I wore the blazer he had bought me the month before. Noah said, "No, gala." So I changed into a black dress. Grandpa looked at me. "Fine. Is that approval?" I only said fine. Noah laughed. The event took place at a Los Angeles hotel. Silent auction. Sponsor tables. Industry executives. I was talking to a professor when I heard Sienna. "Natalie?" I turned. She barely looked like the girl who had once stood at Mom's door in an old hoodie. Perfect blowout. Silver dress. Small diamonds at her ears. Victor stood beside her, one hand at the small of her back. Mom was several yards away. Sienna looked me up and down, then looked at Noah. "What are you doing here?" Noah raised an eyebrow. "I brought her." Sienna recognized him, not because they were close, because Whitmore Foundation social media sometimes included Noah in event photographs. "Noah?" "Hi, Sienna." She looked at me. "You're still living with Grandpa?" "Yes." She laughed. "He hasn't thrown you out." Noah answered first. "Why would he?" Sienna stiffened. Mom approached. "Natalie." "Mom." Vanessa looked at me the way she might evaluate a former employee. "You look well." "I am." Grandpa appeared behind us. Sienna saw him. I immediately saw what she wanted. Recognition. She stepped toward him. "Grandpa." Edmund looked at her. "Sienna." She smiled. "It's been a long time." "Yes. I'm working at Vela House now." "I've heard." She looked surprised. "Mom lets me manage some creators." "Are you still in school?" Her smile faded. "I'm taking a break. Work is better than college." Grandpa said. "Maybe. No lecture. No praise." That was all. Someone called him away. He turned to me. "Natalie, auction item 12. Check the price." I asked. "The warehouse model?" "Yes." Sienna stared. "He asks you?" "He asks the person who knows what he's talking about." Noah said it calmly, not as a boast, but Sienna heard it like a slap. Later, she pulled me toward the balcony. "What did you do to him?" "Nothing. Don't pretend." "I live at his house. I study. We talk sometimes." "He hated Mom." "Yes." "Then why does he like you?" "I don't know. You always have an angle." I looked at her. "What angle do you think I have?" "You always have one. You had Mom first. Now you have Grandpa." I breathed out. "Sienna, I never had Mom the way you think." She laughed. Again with that. Victor approached. "Everything okay?" I looked at him. He recognized me. "Ah, Natalie." "Victor?" Sienna asked. "You two really do know each other?" Victor smiled. "We met once." "I remember more than once," I said. His smile thinned. Small world. I looked at Sienna. "Come out to the lobby with me for 1 minute." "No." Sienna. I said no. I stopped. She had the right to say no to me, too. I nodded. Okay. That was one of the hardest things I had to learn. Saving someone did not mean I had the right to drag them away by force. I left the balcony. Behind me, Victor said something softly. Sienna laughed. But when I looked back once, she was no longer laughing with her eyes. 3 weeks after the gala, Sienna called me at 2:13 in the morning. I was staying in temporary dorm housing for a winter intensive near campus because I did not want to drive back to Newport after late classes. My phone vibrated 3 times before I woke. Sienna? She did not speak. I sat up immediately. Where are you? Beverly Hills. Where exactly? Hotel. Is Victor there? I heard her breathe. Yes. Are you safe? Silence. I stood and pulled on jeans. Send me your location. Don't call the police. Sienna, send me your location. She sent the pin. I ordered a rideshare instead of driving because I was still half asleep. On the way, I texted Olivia. No details. Only, my sister called from a hotel and seems scared. She asked me not to call police. I'm going to pick her up. Anything I should avoid? Olivia replied almost immediately. Do not enter a room if you feel unsafe. Meet in lobby Publix area. If she is injured or says she was assaulted, offer ER/rape crisis advocate, but do not force. Preserve texts. I arrived. Sienna was sitting in a corner of the lobby. Victor was nowhere in sight. She wore a long coat over her dress. Her makeup was smeared. I sat beside her. Did not ask questions. Let's go. In the car, she said, I don't want to go back to Mom's. Okay. I don't want to go to Grandpa either. Okay. Can I go to your place? I'm in guest dorm housing. It won't work. I can book another hotel or call Aunt Rebecca. She thought. Hotel. I booked a room in Westwood. Once inside, Sienna locked the door twice. I sat in a chair. She went to shower. Came out in a bathrobe. I gave her water. Do you need a doctor? No. Did anyone hurt you? She looked at me. I did not push. After a while, she said, Victor got angry because I didn't want to go with his friend. I went cold. His friend? He came after dinner. Where did Victor want you to go? Another penthouse. With that man? Yes. You said no? Yes. What happened? Victor said Mom already knew. I closed my eyes. Sienna started crying. Not beautifully. She folded in on herself, shoulders shaking. Mom knew. I moved beside her. Did not hug her immediately. Asked, Can I hug you? She nodded. I did. For a long time. She said, I'm sorry. For what? For not believing you. That doesn't matter right now. It does. We'll think about it tomorrow. I want out. Okay. I called Olivia. Sienna agreed to meet with a lawyer and a survivor advocate the next morning. Not the police yet. Olivia did not force it. We made a plan. Sienna had her passport. Her phone. Some money of her own. But the BMW was leased through Vela House. Her housing belonged to an LLC connected to the agency. Some brand advances were described in contracts as recoupable expenses. If she left, Mom might claim she owed money. Olivia said, We review every contract. Do not sign anything new. Sienna nodded. I thought that was the moment everything changed. I was wrong. 2 days later, Mom came. I do not know how she found the hotel. Maybe a card transaction. Maybe location sharing had not been disabled. Vanessa stood outside the room. I did not let her in. She called Sienna 12 times. Then she texted, "Victor was drunk and stupid. I handled it. You are overreacting. If you leave now, you lose the brand launch, the apartment, your team, and every contract we built. Think before you destroy your future." Sienna read the messages. Her face went white. I said, "Don't answer today." She nodded. The next day, Victor sent flowers, a Cartier bracelet, an apology note, no specific admission, only, "I pushed too hard. You deserve better." Sienna stared at the bracelet. I knew that moment. Mom had once bought me a handbag after slapping me. A gift was not always just a gift. Sometimes it was a bridge back into the same situation without forcing anyone to name what happened. I said, "You don't owe anyone an answer." Sienna stayed silent. That night, she disappeared. I woke at 6. The other bed was empty. There was a note. "I'm okay. Don't come after me." I called. No answer. At 10, Mom posted an Instagram story. Sienna sat in a makeup chair. Caption, "Back to work. Strong girls don't let one bad night define them." I threw up in the bathroom. Not because Sienna had gone back. Because I understood how Mom could turn even her daughter's resistance into content. Olivia said, "Don't bombard her with messages. Keep the door open." I sent one. "I love you. If you want out again, call." No explanation required. Seen. No reply. The following month, Sienna launched a beauty supplement brand under Vela House. Mom gave her the title, Director of Creator Relations. She was not even 20. I assumed the title was cosmetic. Then Maya sent Olivia a screenshot. A new 18-year-old creator had messaged Maya. "Sienna told me I should go to a sponsor dinner alone because that's how you prove you're serious." I did not want to believe it. Olivia did not show me anything beyond what Maya consented to share. She said, "Being victimized does not automatically prevent someone from later harming others." The sentence hurt. It was also true. Gradually, more information surfaced. Sienna was not merely attending. She was recruiting. Telling young creators the dinners were opportunities. Scheduling them. Messaging, "Don't embarrass Vanessa. This client can change your career. Stay another hour. You accepted the travel advance." Some messages could be interpreted as ordinary business pressure. Others crossed far beyond it. A young woman named Chloe Reyes said Sienna knew she did not want to meet an investor, but still instructed a driver to take her to a private residence. Sienna also maintained a spreadsheet tracking VIP relationship value. I did not learn any of this through hacking. The victims voluntarily gave devices to their attorneys and police. Investigators obtained warrants for what they needed. I only knew what Olivia was allowed to tell me. And that was enough to keep me awake. Mom had turned Sienna from a girl who wanted wealth into someone who believed that if she had endured something, other people should endure it too. That was how abuse reproduced itself. Victims do not always become good people. People who harm others are not always people who have never been harmed. Both things can be true. Meanwhile, Dad finally reached the bottom. The private lender sued. His condo was sold through a foreclosure settlement before it reached auction because he negotiated repayment. Grandpa did not rescue him. Grant moved into a small apartment in Anaheim, worked sales at a dealership for 3 months. Quit. Later, I heard he was driving for a delivery app in the evenings. The first time I saw him parked outside a restaurant in an old Honda, I almost kept driving. But he saw me. Natalie, I got out. I got out. Dad wore a delivery app jacket. His eyes looked older. He smiled bitterly. Enjoying the view? No. Grandpa must be. No. Don't pretend. Nobody is happy. He looked at my car. Not luxury. A used Toyota I had bought myself. Has he given you a job yet? No? Money? I live in his house. That is already a lot of help. Dad laughed. You'll ask eventually. I applied for an internship. He looked at me. At Whitmore? For the summer. He agreed? No. What? I have to apply through HR like everyone else. Dad went silent. I said, Grandpa does not owe you a position. He doesn't owe me one either. You sound just like him. Maybe. The delivery app pinged. Dad looked down. I asked, Do you need grocery money? His face hardened immediately. I don't need your pity. I asked, Go. I left. I did not secretly transfer money. Did not pay his debts. 1 week later, I sent him a link to a free gambling counseling program and a financial legal aid service. He did not respond. 3 months later, Aunt Rebecca told me Dad had attended one counseling session. Only one. But at least it was one. I began to understand that consequences in real life rarely looked as neat as they did in stories. Nobody became a different person after one dramatic fall. They only received another chance to choose what came next. The investigation lasted nearly 11 months from the day Maya first agreed to speak. During that time, almost nothing changed on the surface. Vela House kept posting campaigns. Mom continued appearing on podcasts to talk about female empowerment. Sienna still had followers. Victor still appeared at hospitality conferences. If you only looked at social media, you would have thought I was the only person who had walked away from a machine that was working perfectly. Behind the scenes, detectives and prosecutors did the part revenge fantasies never spend much time describing. Subpoenas, warrants, bank records, company ledgers, travel invoices, hotel bookings, encrypted chat recovery, phone extraction, interviews, re-interviews. Some creators refused to cooperate. Some only wanted to leave and did not want to appear in a case. Some agreed to become witnesses. 2 said they had never been assaulted, but had been threatened with losing housing and being held liable for advances if they refused private dinners. 3 others described more serious conduct. Victor appeared in multiple statements. He was not the only man. My mother was not being investigated for being a bad mother. She was being investigated for the way her agency used contracts, advances, housing, transportation, and threats of financial ruin to pressure certain young women into private meetings that were not part of ordinary employment. I was interviewed twice more. I said what I knew. Nothing more. No guessing. When the detective asked, "Did Vanessa ever explicitly tell you to have sex with Victor?" I answered, "No. She told me to go upstairs to his suite to discuss a campaign. After I refused, she told me I had destroyed a deal that could change the company's future." "Did Victor assault you?" "He touched my thigh and my back after I moved away from him. I left before anything more happened." "Did Vanessa know you did not want to go?" "Yes." "Do you have evidence?" "I have text messages from after the event. No recording from inside the event. They wrote it down." They did not turn my account into something larger than it was. I appreciated that. One October morning, Olivia called. "Today." I was on campus. "What?" "Search warrants are being executed. Do not contact your mother or sister." My hands went cold. Arrests? Possibly. I'm not allowed to tell you more. I sat in the library for almost an hour. I could not study. By noon, news began breaking. Vela House's offices were searched. 2 connected residences were searched. Victor Langford was arrested at his Malibu home on separate charges. My mother was arrested that afternoon. Sienna was not arrested immediately. She disappeared from social media. 3 days later, her attorney contacted prosecutors. Sienna surrendered voluntarily. The initial charges against her were not the same as Mom's. She was younger. There was evidence that she herself had been exploited by the system. But there was also evidence that after she gained authority inside the agency, she had personally participated in recruitment, coercive scheduling, and management of some of the money used to keep creators in debt. The case took time. There was no 3-day trial that solved everything. Some defendants entered pleas. Some fought. Victor's case was partially separated. Mom ultimately accepted a plea agreement after prosecutors obtained enough financial records and multiple witnesses. She received a lengthy prison sentence, restitution obligations, and forfeiture of certain assets connected to illegal proceeds. The entire house was not automatically confiscated. Property was handled according to ownership, liens, and court orders. Vela House shut down. A court-appointed receiver handled some remaining obligations. Sienna also entered a plea. Her attorney presented her history of exploitation. Prosecutors presented the times she had independently pressured others after she was legally an adult, held real authority, and had opportunities to leave. The judge said one sentence that the press quoted: "Being harmed can explain conduct. It does not give unlimited permission to harm the next person." Sienna received a substantially lighter sentence than Mom, but it was still prison. I was not happy. On sentencing day, I sat in the last row. I did not make a statement. Several victims did. Maya did. She said, "I don't need them to hurt the way I hurt. I just need them to be unable to keep doing this to someone else." That was the sentence that made me cry. Mom never looked at me. Sienna did. Only once. There was no victory in her eyes anymore. After sentencing, I did not visit immediately. I needed time. 6 months later, Sienna sent a letter. Only one sentence. "Do you have the courage to come see me?" I went. The visiting room was cold. Plastic chairs. Nothing dramatic like television. Sienna came out in uniform. No extensions. No makeup. She sat. We looked at each other. She said, "You won." I exhaled. "No. Don't say that. I didn't win. Mom is in prison. I'm in prison. Dad is poor. You live with Grandpa. This is not a scoreboard. You have everything." I looked at her. "What do you think I have?" "Grandpa, Noah, Eucla, the company, a nice house." "I don't have the company." "Don't pretend. Grandpa will leave it to you. Maybe I'm a beneficiary. You once had rights in the family trust too, before Dad's legal issues complicated things. But a role in the company does not appear automatically." Sienna laughed without humor. "It's still the life that should have been mine." I stayed quiet. She had been saying some version of that sentence since the day she stood at Mom's door. I asked, "Do you remember when I gave you that $10,000 check?" "Yes." "You thought I wanted Mom all to myself?" "Yes." The truth is, I was already trying to get out of the house. She looked at me. I continued, "Victor tried to pull me into that world before you moved in. Mom slapped me because I left. Maya had already cried to me. I didn't want you living there because I was afraid Mom would use you the way she had started using me." Sienna said nothing. I didn't tell you everything because I was ashamed, because I didn't have enough proof, because part of me still could not say out loud that Mom was that kind of person. Sienna looked down at her hands. Why didn't you force me? I couldn't. You could have told Grandpa. I had not even told him yet. The police? I didn't understand how broad it was. She laughed. So you were a coward too? Yes. Sienna looked up. Maybe she had not expected me to agree. I was afraid, I said, and I wish I had reported things sooner. She was quiet for a long time. Then she asked, that night at the hotel, if I had stayed with you, what would have happened? That question hurt more than any accusation. I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't be here. Maybe. Do you know why I went back? The gifts. Mom. The brand. Not just that. She bit her lip. If I admitted Victor scared me, it meant you had been right. It meant I spent 4 years hating you over something that wasn't even real. I looked at my sister. It was the first thing she had said that was not meant to win. Sienna continued. Mom said if I could endure a little now, nobody would ever look down on me again. Then new girls joined the agency, and I saw them cry, and I thought, why did I have to endure it if they got to walk away? I closed my eyes. That's when you started doing it to other people. I know. You were a victim, but those girls were victims of you too. She nodded. Tears fell. Nobody in the visiting room stopped to stare. I asked, do you still think I stole your life? Sienna shook her head, then nodded. I don't know. I said, you never wanted my life. You wanted the reward you thought I had. She looked at me. What's the difference? You never saw the price. I stood when visiting time was almost over. Sienna asked, will you come back? I won't promise every week. Next month? I'll try. She gave a very small smile. You still hate making promises. Yes. I walked out, not having forgiven everything. Not having cut her off completely. A relationship can exist somewhere between those two places. After the case settled, I graduated from UCLA 1 semester later than originally planned. Not summa cum laude, not valedictorian. I graduated with departmental honors and a GPA good enough that I was proud of it. Grandpa, Noah, and Aunt Rebecca came. Dad came too. He sat in the back. Not with Edmund, but he was there. After the ceremony, Dad handed me flowers from a grocery store. Sorry, he said. Nothing fancy. I like them. He had gone to more counseling. He worked full-time at another dealership. Still had debt. Still was not the perfect father. But he no longer called asking for money. That was progress. Grandpa asked, can you start tomorrow? I looked at him. Start what? Your internship. I laughed. You said HR had to decide. HR decided. Position? Rotational analyst intern. Intern? You said you wanted to start low. I said I didn't want a title handed to me. Then, intern, Noah said. Welcome to Excel hell. I elbowed him. On my first day at Whitmore Logistics and Development, my badge did not say granddaughter. Only, Natalie Whitmore Rotational Analyst Intern. I rotated through operations, leasing, acquisitions, asset management. Some people knew who I was. Some did not. I did not correct them. During my first 3 months, I took notes on the way managers treated interns when they believed nobody important was listening. A few things I later mentioned to Noah helped HR identify 2 teams with serious turnover problems. Grandpa heard about it and asked, "Are you spying?" I'm observing. What's the difference? I'm not setting traps. He nodded. Good. One evening, Noah and I left the office late. He looked at me. Grandma would have liked you. I stopped. She died a long time ago. I know. Why say that? You're like her. I barely remember her. She forced Grandpa to build the company around systems instead of ego. Everyone thinks Grandpa built Whitmore by himself. Grandma was the first person who forced him to create an audit committee. I smiled. Romantic. Very. Noah looked at me. You're not Vanessa. You're not Uncle Grant either. I went quiet. That was the fear I had never said aloud. If your parents made you, did that mean you would eventually become them? Noah said, You get to choose which parts you keep. I looked back at the office building. 5 years earlier, I thought family meant choosing between mom and dad. Then I thought family meant finding someone powerful enough to rescue me. Eventually, I understood. A healthy family is not someone who makes your decisions for you. It is someone who gives you a place safe enough to make them yourself. Sienna once wanted to steal my life, but the life she saw had never really existed. The houses, handbags, cars, perfect photographs. They were only the outside. What changed my life was not choosing the richer person. It was finally stopping myself from choosing people based on what they could give me. I left Mom even when she was rich. I refused to rescue Dad even though he was my father. I went to Grandpa but did not ask for a title. I loved my sister without pretending what she did was innocent. None of those choices made life easier immediately, but at least they were mine. And for the first time in my life, I no longer wanted anyone else's.